Welcome to the Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson podcast, the podcast where we head down the road of the supernatural and beyond. So sit back and hold on as we take a ride together to what lies in the unknown and beyond the veil. This two-part episode features Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, an internationally renowned naturopathic doctor, energy healer, remote viewer, paranormal expert, and consciousness teacher. And now your host, Daniel Jackson.
Hello, and welcome to Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson. Me, I'm your host, Daniel Jackson. And today on our show, we have Dr. Kimberly McGeorge. Kimberly, how are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great now that we got to talk a little bit before we proceed with this interview. So I'm reading here on your bio. You do lots of stuff, holy mackerel. We have all kinds of, lots of talking points to talk about. But explain to my audience the basics of what it is that you do.
Hard to know which door to come through on that one.
You got more doors than The Price is Right. But go ahead.
That's a good one, actually. I might steal that.
I have jokes.
I like jokes. That's good. Really, like you, Daniel, was born with fairly developed, fairly remembered psychic abilities for whatever reason. Born into a family that did not recognize, appreciate, those psychic abilities. So naturally, like many children, not out of fear, a lot of children tend to shut down their abilities, I find, out of fear. Mine weren't shut down out of fear. I guess mine were shut down out of fear, but not what you think. They were shut out of the fear of not conforming, not belonging in 3D society, school, church, and family.
Not fitting in.
Yes, not fitting in. So I guess I did shut them down out of fear, but not fear of the beings, because you were kind of saying it about something else when we were talking about when you're around 1,000 different types of beings for 5 years, 365 days, you get used to the scary ones. You get used to the cool ones. It's weird to say that. Yes, I was terrified at first, but when they didn't tear me apart and eat me, like, what's the worst that can happen? They kind of cease to intimidate you when they don't follow through on how they appear. And then you start, and this is weird. I've never really talked about this. You're bringing out weird things in me. You develop relationships with these beings.
Yeah.
Which sounds strange, even the scary ones. And then they, of course, just like a person that you may be intimidated at first or not like at first. And once you get to know them, you change your mind. I really changed my mind about the purpose and intent of a lot of beings when I got to know them. So just because a being looks terrifying, whether it's a human discarnate, some people call them ghosts, or whether it's a monster type being, it doesn't mean they are a monster type being. For example, we talk a lot in conspiracy, on YouTube about Dracos and reptilians. I have the most beautiful beings that are Dracos and reptilians in my classes. They know they're Draco. They own, and when I say Draco, I'm going to say double Draco. I mean, their spirit's Draco and their bodies, has a lot of Draco, genetics. So I've learned not to just cast out beings, including Sasquatch and Dogman and a lot of the fourth and fifth dimensional beings, just because they're big, just because they're hairy, just because, Legends of Doom. So, shut down my abilities. Of course, once I got out of the home into college, I felt like I could kind of start letting that cat out of the bag a little bit and experimenting with more of me. That led to some very interesting experiences. I was heavily steeped in religion when I was growing up. So my first entry into the paranormal was more the deliverance, exorcism, very dramatic, very dark.
What religion?
Well, Methodist and then Baptist. So
Catholic.
Well, you're kind of all in the same.
Yeah, because I was taught everything was demons and devils and all that.
That's what I was just gonna say. Yeah, everything was, casting out the demons, and everything was a demon. And it took me years to discern. I mean, I've met people that are more demonic than the worst demons. And again, it sounds weird to say I've talked to demons and I've had great relationships with what not you, but other people would consider demons, which opens up a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying with that. They're not necessarily demons. They're just These are just really negative energies.
That's it.
This is what they choose to be.
That's
Just
it.
like anyone else, like someone else chooses to be a doctor or a lawyer, they just choose to be this. And this is what they are. But as long as you accept them for what they are, just like a horrible person here doesn't have to be there. You don't have to be friends with them as long as you accept, because if you continue to just go, oh, they're a horrible person, you don't have to do that. You can go, you know what? They are a horrible person, and then move on and just let it be that. You don't have to continue to hound on it all the time, which causes more negative energy for yourself than just accepting that they are a bad energy.
And
correct?
moving on. Right.
Yeah.
And again, it's the same thing. It's so interesting. And you know this because you work with people that have crossed over and out of body souls and things. But I think it's so interesting that we think we can control anyone else but ourselves. So we think we can control human discarnates and we can summon them Mom, I want you now. And Grandma, I want you now. And Archangel Michael, I want you now, whatever your predilection is for summoning. That's not how
that guy I can get a hold of anytime I want to. But because they're my guys. But yeah, I try to tell that to people all the time when they want to get a reading or something like that. Oh, I want to talk to my mom. Well, that doesn't mean your mom wants to talk to you.
Thank you.
She may not want to come through. Say that. And sometimes if they've just recently passed away, they may not have enough energy to actually come back and tell you things, but they may send another representative, maybe your uncle, to come through. But I don't want to talk to my uncle because I had a bad relationship. Well, that's okay because he's already let all that go, and he wants to talk to you. You just have to let it go first, and then he can give you some messages. Why block yourself from getting some messages just because you didn't have a good relationship with him? He's in a better place now. He's in a place full of love, so he's going to give you all the information you need. People just don't get that,
Yeah. So I learned that, pretty young, how to relate to different beings. And so I worked a lot in the paranormal. I did a lot of, house clearings, land clearings, got married, had children, went into the naturopathic herbal world, started a healing practice. It's kind of weird how you just don't even know how you end up places. It's been so long that I've been a healer. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. The essence of who you are and who you've been before, probably many times. And so at one time I had 4 locations, clinical locations in Columbus, in-person locations. Now, of course, we do so much business, as you know, or all business over the internet. So now I've switched, of course, to an international practice. And then about a little bit into my practice, I discovered technology and biofeedback and worked with that, a long, long time. And then, of course, now we have, handheld devices instead of big computers that are chain, desktops.
Yeah, because this computer right here is actually stronger than the computers they use to send,
Yeah, that's a fancy
up in the States, right?
You have better cameras than I do on my phone. Exactly.
Yeah, this is the Samsung 2021 Ultra. So yeah.
Nice. Those are some nice cameras. I could get some good cameras.
It's smart. The phone is smarter than me, but good.
I love it. So now we have these handheld devices, and we have these apps, and these apps we have are quantum apps. So they're outside all time, all space, all non-time, non-space. And so I can be sitting on an airplane and I can pull somebody up and I can tell them. It's just so wonderful that everybody's always AI, down with AI. We always use AI so horribly, but we all use it so constantly. I think it's kind of a hypocrisy kind of hold as a society. But personally, I'm so thankful that we're allowed to have the level of technology because really, who would ever think the controllers would let us have quantum technology,
Right. Yeah. People don't realize they have AI as soon as they turn on their freaking TV.
Yeah.
Because your TVs today got apps on them, all that stuff.
Yeah, you have, your refrigerators are smart and your security systems are run by AI and on and on. And your cars are run by AI. So.
Absolutely, everything. People don't realize how much is really going on. They just think of AI as going to be some robot that's going to come here and control your life. But they're already controlling your life.
They're already
within computers and cameras. Everywhere you go, you're being watched. you know.
Oh, that's a big thing that people argue with me about. They have this whole targeted individual movement, and there is validity in that. There is validity in being, of course, targeted for an enemy of the state. But I always say, hey, let's roll this back, and we are all targeted. We are all monitored. We are all photographed. We are all. They're recording this. If they really wanted to shut this down, they would shut this down, or they would interfere with it. I think there's other beings assisting, so I don't believe it will.
Yes, I will totally agree with that, because we could talk about this later on a personal thing. But I will tell you, since moving to Sierra Vista, I'm being followed. Do you know what's in here in Sierra Vista?
No, a base?
The largest intelligence base on the United States.
I knew it. I knew it.
You know what they used to do at that base in the 60s and 70s?
What?
Experiments on psychic mediums.
There you go.
Yeah. I caught the guy following me. So, because I ride a motorcycle, and he was following me all the way through my town, and then he followed me all the way through a couple of different plazas. Except one road he didn't follow me down, which was a road that goes from here over to Tombstone, and it's only one road in, one road out.
Oh,
so he didn't follow me on that one.
He didn't want to be that obvious. He just wanted to.
No, but he was pretty obvious. Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely want us to know when they follow. I believe they want us to know that they're following.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I could tell you 1,000 stories about that.
Yeah, because they want to. Again, it's part of that power and control, that those who have power control us, and letting us know. So we should always feel in fear. But I'm not in fear of what that is. It just is what it is. I mean, it's going to happen whether I like it or not.
Well, as we talked about before, I hate to say this, you get used to it. And I told my girls, if I wasn't followed, I would be more concerned now than when I got followed, like I was doing something wrong.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. There's no way in this world that I mean, they say they have, of course, they've shown it. They have cameras up in space that can, see your license plate. So, they're doing more than just looking at license plates.
You know what, though? I have to say this, as interesting as your life is, and as weird as we are, and maybe mystical to other people, and as interesting as my life is and what we do for a living and in our spare time, much of my life is dogs barking, and it's pretty darn boring. So I kind of feel sorry for the people.
My wife says to me all the time, okay, Mr. Word of God, it's time to empty the trash. Because it is, it's you gotta, hey, Mr. Word of God, go over there and empty the dishwasher.
I love it.
Yeah, because and that's one of the reasons why I do this show. One reason to bring truth of everything that's really out there, because a lot of stuff is, I did this show because of I got tired of the TV shows that says, oh, we're going to bring you something new and exciting, and then the exciting stuff they tell you is you already heard it from 1970, and it's not really any truth. They just want to draw you in. But the truth of it is a lot of people, especially you and I, we are also still real people. I still have to wake up in the morning, I have to shit, shower, and shave, and get myself together and do my daily routine. I'm still a person, still human, as we all are, but just some of us are just, or all of us are just a little bit different than each other. That's all.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, especially you with everything that you got going on.
You're so funny.
I mean, I looked at all your stuff. I was like, yeah, holy shit. So, I mean, you have stuff in cryptozoology, paranormal, conspiracy. You teach people how to get in touch with consciousness, basically consciousness technology, frequencies, all that stuff. The mystery of aliens. So when I was talking to you and telling you, because I see spirit 24/7, really never turns off except when I'm sleeping, and I have to take melatonin gummies just to sleep, because if I don't, they wake me up out of the middle of the night and start talking to me, because there's no space and time. They just talk and talk, and they just talk about everything. I had a guy come to me one time in meditation. He runs up to me and he says this. He says, "Hey, are you Irish?" And I was like, "What?" And then I saw in my third eye, even though I'm facing this way, I saw him run behind me. So I turn around in that and I go, "Yeah, I'm Irish." And he says, "Thanks." And then just kept on going. What did that have to do? When I first started this, I would say out loud, "Is there any spirits got anything here to say to me?" And one of them said, "Got no time, going to a party." And that was it. And I was like, what? What do
Love
you
it.
mean? Yeah, because they're just because they are, when you rise up out of your body, the soul that's inside of you now doesn't look like you. It looks like you the last time you were here. But when you rise up out of this time, it retains you, and then you become you. But you'll have all the perfect memories of your life here, but you'll have perfect memories of all the other lives you've been here. So you'll know you're you, but you have a lot more than you do.
Well,
But
or you.
yeah, and so they have a lot to talk about, and they're going to say that because when you rise up out, you still feel like you're you. So you're going to talk like you do. That's all.
Right.
But
For a while.
just yeah, just feeling better because there's no you're not breaking bones and stuff like that anymore. And then you'll move on, and then when you get to where you need to be, you'll be very aware of where you are and what's going on, and you'll realize here was just kind of a learning experience, more or less. And yeah, but they still talk like regular people all the time, although the ones who are here earthbound, I see they talk about more of the negative side of things, because again, they didn't let go of that, and they are surrounded more by more negative energies there as well. But they're just, I always tell people, you wake up in the morning and you do your daily routine and you go to work and do your job, and maybe you don't do your job because you're a lazy piece of crap. And then you come home and then you eat your dinner and you watch some TV and you go to sleep and you wake up and do it all over again. Spirits around you 24/7. They're always here. They're paying attention. They watch what we do. They don't necessarily care what we do because they don't have to do it anymore. They don't sleep, eat, breathe, and all that stuff. They don't pay bills or drive cars or anything, but they are doing other things as well. But they're always around us, and they just kind of pay attention. Some of them want to be heard. Most of them don't, so the ones who don't just kind of sit back and relax and do what they want to do, because they are now living their lives uninterrupted. So, but again, they're still people. They still feel as though they are still people and doing the same things, and some of them just want to say stuff. And I'm sure they get tired of just talking to each other. They want to see if they can communicate with us. Some of us have an ability to do that. Most people don't, because when they were born in this, or born again in this world to come back in, basically the world takes a bucket of bleach and throws it over top of you, and you get sanitized by everything. And then because you get taught the ways of the world, and once you get taught the ways of the lies of the world, then all that stuff goes away. I mean, people say, "Oh yeah, my kid. I think my kid has some imaginary friends." They're not imaginary, you dipshit. They're people. They can see that stuff. You know why? Because they're brand new in the world. And they're back in again. And now, but when we sanitize them, stuff kind of goes away. But you're trying to teach people, like I do, to get back to that.
It's funny you were talking about that. I had my first grandson, and he's 2 months old, and he can see like nobody's business, of course. And, he's not vaccinated, not given any medication, we even refused everything in the hospital. So no, as much as possible, leaving him intact. And I take him out in the woods and I watch him interact with the same beings that I see in real time. And I told my daughter, she's like, "What'd you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, we went out in the woods. We talked to the Sasquatch, the Dogman. They held up their babies and they were all interacting." And she's like, "Don't make my kid a crackpot like you." Now, she's half serious, and half joking, but I'm absolutely going to make him a crackpot, but like me, because I don't want to close off his ability to the fourth and fifth dimensions. I don't want him to lower frequency into this density. I want him to retain it with that option, and when he gets 16, if he wants to shut it down, then he can choose. But I don't think we should shut it down for them,
No, and that's the problem. That's what we do. We shut it down for them. We make too many decisions for them. We don't give them enough time to realize, hey, if I got this, maybe I want to keep this.
Well, and he's not a baby. I mean, he's an older, soul. And, we talked to him before he was born. All my children have abilities. We all communicated. He communicated to us before he was born. He did stop for a while through the birth, trauma. But even now we have a good mind-to-mind communication. I mean, he told me what to buy for his nursery. And he makes funny comments about, how his mom and dad are lazy and they won't decorate it. I mean, he's hilarious, because we relate to the outside shell, same as what we're talking about with spirits. We can relate this to this wetware. We relate to babies as babies. I never have. I've always related to children and young people and babies as the soul that they are, because I can see that and I can see their life.
Is that what you call this, wetware?
Yeah, I call this one there. Yeah. It's like, well,
I call it a meat suit.
yes, very similar,
Yeah,
it's just, we've had many of them. And when
yeah,
I talk to people about their self-esteem or about their narcissism, either way, that's like, the opposite ends. I'm like, stop the madness here and stop the madness here. Cause you've
yeah,
had many of these. You've been men, you've been women, you've been poor, you've
yeah.
been rich, you've been kings, you've been slaves. Like, get over yourself.
Yeah, people all of a sudden, oh, well, I want to know about my past lives and stuff like that. Oh, maybe I was related to this or this. I tell them, you've had so many past lives. You know, I always tell them, don't mess with the 23andMe and or Ancestry.com, because the person you're looking up from 100 years ago that looks similarly like you was you. It's just a different version of you. You've come from all over parts of this world. You have so many stories. The one thing we all have in common is one thing: we're all human. So you don't need to worry about your past lives, because your past lives, if your past life was so important, you would have fulfilled your purpose. You wouldn't be here now. So you wouldn't have had to come back. You would have finished your task of learning and doing everything you were supposed to do. But that didn't happen. You had to come back now again. So don't mess with that stuff. That's just the company just trying to get money from you, again, from the system. So but people don't realize that. Although we bring through what you bring through things from your previous lives, and that's what makes up your personality, makes up
Absolutely.
who you are. And sometimes you do bring through some of that anger and pain, but the lesson to learn from your life now is, how do I dispose of that and get away from that? I don't have to be a horrible person. I can choose to be a good person. Like I tell people my analogy for, if you were an alcoholic and I was your best friend, I will take you to meetings. I will keep you away from stuff. I'll keep you away from all the bars and stuff like that. Although it doesn't hurt to go to a good strip club. But, we have all this stuff. I can keep you from it. But no matter what I say and do, until you choose to stop drinking, remember what I say isn't going to help you. You make the choice for you. If you're walking around with depression in your heart, it is up to you to choose to let it go. You can go to a doctor, he can give you some pills, and he can talk you through it. But you know what you could do if you really wanted to? You could talk yourself through it and get out of it.
You bring up an important point about what people like you and I do, whether you're a healer, whether you're a psychic, whether you're a medium, whether you're an astrologer. I find that the clientele, the common people of the world, or even the ones that consider themselves enlightened, they come to us, and you're going to be the last one. When I have a reading with you, you're going to answer all my questions, solve all my problems. You're going to be my magic pill, and then we move on to the
No.
next, then I'm going to be your magic pill. And really what you just said, it's the choice, the free will choice that
Yes.
we have at every single second to choose again. It doesn't matter what
Yes.
your life looks like. It doesn't matter if you're a drug addict, sex addict, cheating, horrible marriage, poor, rich. It doesn't matter. If you don't like your life right now, you have all the power and all the ability and all the knowledge from all your past lives
Right.
to change it. Like, I'm
Right.
not going to change it. You're not going to change it. Even your
Right.
spirit guides aren't going to force you to change it.
Yeah, you have the ability to make all your choices, and your spirit guides are here. Spirit guides are here to help you through your life, the easiest way you can get through it. They're not here to fix your life. If you screwed up your life, it's up to you to fix it. But they will come here and try to give you help you with decisions that you're making. You have your spirit guides. You wake up in the morning, you go, oh, I'm going to go to the mall today. Well, that's partially you, but that's them helping you say, hey, you need to go to the mall today, because you're going to have experiences that you need to have. You're going to bump into people that you need to see. But when we use our free will too much, or use the ego part of it and go, I don't need, the world taught you to feel that you are not good enough for anything. And then when they do that so much, you start to believe it. And then you start talking yourself out of things that you're supposed to be doing, which your guides are trying to help you do. But we go, oh, well, I can't do this because I can't fit in there. You know what? You can fit in anywhere that you want to. All you have to do is have faith in the fact that you can. You could walk into a whole room of suited up people and go, hey, I want to be here. Well, you're not allowed to be here because you don't have the same suit as us. Yeah, but if you take your suit off, you're just like me. So why can't I fit here? Yeah. Oh, well, you don't have the same degree as me. Well, you know what? I went to school. I took comprehension. I get it. So, we can all do the same things, but we have to come to the point or realizing the fact that we are all the same thing. We all did come from the same place, and we can all go back to that same place if we choose. That's if we choose to cross over to the light or remain here as an earthbound, different other side of the glass. But yeah, we're all the same. We're just, some of us chose to go to school more to do this or that because your purpose in life is not becoming a doctor or a lawyer. That's a choice. But your purpose in life is to help other individuals just because you can, because you should. That we can do that, but we choose not to because we think, oh, well, I'm better than you because I got this degree in school, or I'm better than you because I'm an astronaut. So freaking what? You're a human just like me. Do you eat Wheaties? Me too. But we do the same things. We're so fixated on trying to be an individual. That's why you have all these people coming out and saying, oh, well, I'm there. There's more than one. There's more than one gender. There's like 50 genders. No, there's not. You just want to be an individual person amongst everyone else so you can look cool. Well, you stay on that path. Guess who's coming back again? You are.
You know what I say about the genders, and I hope I don't get grief for this, but
go ahead, because I'm on your road, lady. Go right ahead.
We're like eternal beings, right? So we get the chance. We know that we're going to have other experiences after this. And whether here or elsewhere, doesn't matter. We're going to have other experiences. We're going to have other wetware or non-wetware, as the case may be. But here's my thing. If you're put, I'm just going to use the word put, in a female body or a male body, just bite it, because you can change. You're going to probably be in a different body soon. And we think time is really slow. There's actually no such thing as time, but we think time is really slow and agonizing. Oh, I want to be a man. Oh, I want to be a woman. Oh, I want breasts. So I want, whatever we don't have. I see no different in the gender thing than I do in being in a marriage cheating or being in a job wishing you'd done something differently. Like, there, to some extent in the body, like, just deal with it. I'm not saying you have to love it.
And if you're meant to come back again, you may come back as another one. I tell people all the time, a lot of times what they have these particular feelings, like being gay or what have you, like that. Because in that realm of what we call heaven or the earthbound realm, you're allowed to love anybody that you want to. Meaning,
for real,
there's no. I see spirit on both sides. I see them on the earthbound side, because when spirit comes through and they look at you, they see your body frame, but they see the light that's inside of you. That's your soul. But with me, they don't see that, because all they see is this big blob of light. They're always touching me, pinching me, poking me, and stuff like that, because they can't figure out what I am until I start talking to them. But I saw this woman. I was in the hospital. She comes in, and then another woman comes in. I see their faces, everything, and the two of them look at each other and they start talking, and I can hear them because it's all telepathy, because that's how we all talk. But we just have voice boxes now.
That's right.
And they come in and they go, "Hey, how's it going?" The other one's like, "Good." She's like, "What do you think?" She's like, "Okay." They start making out, and I'm like, "This is interesting." So then a guy comes in. Two girls stop making out. The girl and the guy start making out, and one of the ladies sitting there by herself. Another guy came in. Those two stop making out. The two girls go back to making out. The two guys are making out, and I'm sitting there going, looking at them, and I said, "Hey, I think you four ought to get a room." And then they all stop making out and they do this. I go, "Yeah, there's a voice coming from the light. My name's Daniel Jackson. I'm the light here, and I can show you how to. Does anybody want to cross over?" You know what they said? No.
What?
They said,
a lot love the fourth dimension. They love it. Believe me, I know.
I said, "Why don't you want to leave?"
Whispers for the birds. I'm sorry. Just you say go to light doesn't mean they're going to light. You don't have power to choose for them. I'm sorry, people. You know.
Yeah. And I said, "Why don't you want to cross over there?" And one of them said, "Oh, because we have friends here and we're okay." And I was like, "Okay." But I said, "Really?" And he said, one guy said, "Well, there's no rules here." And I was like, "What do you mean, no rules?" He said, "Well, if I want to come through into your realm and antagonize you, I can." I was like, "Oh, okay." I said, "So," and he said, "Well, because we like to joke around." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
In other words, like I tell people, like with that movie Amityville Horror, they sensationalize a lot of things and stuff like that. But what it is they were just spirit who are in that house who don't want you in that house. So they will do everything possible to make you leave. And they did, and it worked. But they sensationalize things. Why do they do that? so they can make money and sell tickets. That's why. So, but yeah, there are negative energies who are going to do things who don't want you there. But
You also brought up a good point about there's not two categories. There's not good and bad. There's not negative and positive. There's also, as you brought up, what I call prankster energies. I have a lot of prankster spirits that love to do good things, but they also love pranks. So
yeah, they want to throw something across the room. Yeah, they throw something across the room, and you're like, "Oh my God, it's a demon! It's going to kill me!" No. Yeah.
So there's all. I mean, we're just so narrow because we can't see and we don't know. We say, okay, it's just this and this, and it's actually, even if we stick with the fourth dimension, what a plethora. It's not just human discarnates in the fourth dimension. What a plethora of beings.
As many of billions of people are here, there are that many. As I tell people, the ones who cross over, as many that cross over into the light, there's that many who don't, who just stay here and hang around here and do whatever they're doing here too.
There's a ton. There's a ton that stay.
There's a gazillion of them.
My uncle's one of them. A shockingly ton that stay around here.
Yeah. I cross over spirit all the time. I also cross over a lot. So I don't just see, like I said, so I don't just see people. I see dogs, cats, horses, cows, fish.
Well, that's awesome.
Other beings that look, they look alien to us. Well, yeah, they just look, but they're other beings from other worlds. Yes. There's no one there who's actually like walking around in this fashion. No one there walking around with horns and a tail torturing anyone. But there may be somebody walking around with horns and a tail, but that's because that's what he looks like where he comes from.
Choose that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Some of them look at like we see them, they look like a monster. Well, they look like a monster because that's what we were told monsters are, but that's what what they look like where they come from. That's all. They just look different than we do. We just we don't see anything here walking around like that, so we can't go, oh, it's got to be something evil. No, it doesn't, unless it does something mean and horrible to you. Yeah, but you have people here to do mean and horrible things to us as well. So, hello, I'm Daniel Jackson, also known as Spirit Medium Daniel. I have a new book out on Amazon titled Daniel Jackson, The New Beginning, My Awakening as a Spirit Medium. It's my story of becoming a medium in chronological order of how it happened for me. There are also 25 channeled messages from my spirit guides of what God wants us to know. You can find it there on Amazon by putting in the search bar, Daniel Jackson, The New Beginning. It is on paperback and ebook.
That's what people say to me. They're like, you do know some Sasquatch are evil. I'm like, yeah, but I'll tell you, I know a lot more evil people than evil Sasquatch. Sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because as I always joke with my wife, why do women do these things? Because, bitches be bitches. That's why. So they just are, but again, that's a choice that they make to be a horrible person. I mean, Hitler chose to be a horrible person, but his soul still leaves his body and goes wherever it's going to go as well. So,
Absolutely.
People just don't pay attention to that stuff. And why as much as I do, because the world taught us all this bullcrap.
It's all bullcrap. Like I don't know what isn't bullcrap. I mean, from my observation. So we just don't. It's just frustrating. It's frustrating. It's hard to get beyond here. It really is. I do have compassion. I fell under some of the programming, and we all have. We all have and do slide into it, in and out of it, and that's fine. One of the things I try to teach, and it's hard to saturate this because we're very hypnotized by it. There's nothing here that's not programming. So to break out of it, how do we break out of it? We break out of it by purification. We break out of it by raising our frequency. We break out of it by activating our psychic abilities and our vision. We can connect directly to the all. We can, like you and I do, we can connect directly to these dimensions and make our own conclusions. Not a book, not a YouTube video, not what somebody else has told us, but we have our own experience. Not someone who goes, I took an intuition class. Now I'm a medium. No, you either have this or you don't. And if you don't, you could get some of it back, but you have to wash everything away that you have been taught your entire life
to go away, to get back to that. And most people can't because, again, they just don't want to. They just, oh, I can't, how can I just trust something I can't see? I always tell them all the time, put your two hands together like this as a cup. And they go, okay. I look at it and I go, now show me inside of that cup. Where's love? Oh, I don't see it. Where's anger? Where's hate? I don't see it. Oh, you don't see those things, but you make decisions based on them every day, don't you? Well, you can do this too, but you have to choose to do that. And until you release yourself of all this pain, anger, sorrow, grief, guilt, anguish, all that crap.
Lower frequency.
Yeah. People here are, the everyday person is swimming in a mud puddle. They just can't.
When we take the aura picture, we see that. You know what we also see in the aura? We see the repression. We see the pushing down of the being, making them smaller than they are, restricting. Some of that's chosen, some of that's outside. We see that a lot in the aura, the toxicity, the physical toxicity, what we put in our body, what we put in our mind, what we put in our eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't have any tattoos. I asked them one time, I asked Spirit, I said, is it okay if I get a tattoo? And they say no. And I said, why not? Because in order, for me specifically, in order to get clear messages, I have to be of clear mind, body, and soul. So
what's interesting about the tattoo subject? I'm not against tattoos. Like a principle, I'm not against. I'm not against the principle of painting your body,
absolutely.
But a tattoo creates what we call an interference field.
Yes.
We have enough interference. We don't need to be adding.
Yeah, we don't need any more. Yeah, Jesus, holy crap. Yeah, we don't need I tell everybody, oh, you can ink your body all up if you want to. But when I see spirit, nobody has tattoos. You know why? Because they don't have a tattoo body anymore. You can't take that stuff with you. So, why bother doing it here?
That's a good point.
So let me ask you. So when you talk to people, and let me see some of these. What is a PEMF?
So that's one of the devices that I actually am one of the patent holders on. It's called Halo, HAELO, and it's a frequency device. PEMF is pulsed electromagnetic frequencies, and it drives different frequencies into the physical body. So we all have frequencies, but they don't all saturate into the body to reduce inflammation.
And they don't work as well as sunblock, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just a device that helps drive the frequencies into the body so the body can recognize, oh, okay, I know what to do with that. Thanks for the information. It's basically.
Is that kind of like, because I describe this to people because we are vibration, we are sound and vibration, and that's what our soul is based on. Especially like when I tell people, when you hear a certain song and then all of a sudden you get goosebumps from that song, that's basically your soul saying, hey man, I really like this. This is a good thing for you. And that's why we get so connected to some things in this world, because goosebumps are not just something that just happens. I tell people, the brain, okay, the brain makes all the parts work and stuff like that, but you don't have a soul. You are a soul, and everything about you is your soul coming here to learn lessons, fulfill the purpose. And the only reason you're doing it in this meat suit is in order to fulfill these physical things here. So, but you're still connected to it, and sometimes your soul shows you this connection. And then when you feel that, when you hear that song that just sets you off, and you're like, I love this song, you get the goosebumps. And you get that wonderful feeling. It's your soul basically kind of telling you, you could have this wonderful feeling all the time, but you got to get in sync with it, and there are different ways to get in sync with it. So is that what you do with these devices?
Yeah,
help people
basically, it reminds the body of the original holographic template of perfection.
Right.
And so it creates homeostasis in whatever's out of balance with different programs. And we've done quite a few Halos, invested money in lab tests, and the frequency programs in Halo can increase quality of sleep, REM sleep, depth of sleep, length of sleep by 30%. Find me a pill you can swallow that does that. There isn't one that exists. Frequencies are much more powerful because of what you said. They're speaking the language of the soul. They're speaking the language of the reality, and they're speaking, of all that exists. Everything's frequency. Everything's like color and sound, all the way back to the all. So
all the way back to your soul's, like I tell people all the
origination.
time,
Yeah.
Your name here, like my name is Daniel this time, but we have all these human names here,
I love
but
it.
our original soul name is not a name that any of us can pronounce because it is more of a sound and more vibration, and it's
More
more
of
of
a
a
song, a
yeah,
song.
it's more of like a oh type
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
You'll get when you get home. Someone may call me when I finally go home this time. Someone may call me Daniel or all the other names.
Right.
One of my names is Peter, and I was third to his right at that supper. So, but whatever. But yeah. But when I get home, they may call me that, or they may call me, oh, and I'm going to turn around and go, oh, that's me, because you know at that point. Because as I tell everyone, when you get home, you don't just meet up with the 200 or 300 people you met here. You know everybody, because that's where we come from. We all come from the same family, the soul family. It's just we're just here meeting up with each other at different times, different periods, and stuff like that. But yeah, the whole soul name is just a different thing. It's all soul, it's all vibrations, all sound. We need to get back to that. We need to get back to the original existence and get away from all this egotistical bullcrap that we all live here. So let me ask your opinion. I know what goes on here, but tell me what you say happens when we die.
Again, it's an interesting combination depending on who you are and who you were here, because this is what I teach and what I know and what I didn't used to know, because I grew up in religion. So I was taught when you die, you become someone different. You become glorified. You become perfect. You become this different being than who you were the second before you die. But in actuality, you don't become someone glorified necessarily, depending on the definition of, you don't become a different being. You are exactly, you said this a couple of times in this hour. You are exactly the same person when you pass and stand outside your body as you were the second before.
Yes.
You aren't magically, now your memory maybe, as you talked about. We're not talking about memory. I'm talking about being, the being that you are. You have the same taste, the same preferences, the same personality. You don't magically alter. You may have a better connection to your other soul. You may have a better connection to all the selves that you have, been, but you're still the same being that you were in that body.
Absolutely.
And that's pretty profound, because if you want to be a better person, I tell people, don't wait till you die.
Right.
Be that better person now, because then you will be that, for 100% you'll be that better person.
Right.
When you pass, obviously. Well, it's obvious to me.
Right. Like, so, don't pay respect to someone after they die. Pay respect to them now while they're still living.
Yeah, absolutely. And be a person that other people want to pay respect to now, if that's who you want to be seen for, because you illustrated it by some of the spirits you've been talking about. I find the fourth density quite interesting. There are no rules, and it's quite a debaucherous type of hedonistic, not just with the human race, but with a lot of the races. Are there good beings there? There's marvelous beings there, don't get me wrong, that are marvelous, kind, loving, but there's also a lot of weirdo stuff there that goes on there. Do you automatically end up there? No. I think again, there's profound memory wiping here. There's profound technology, the drugs, the poisoning of the food, the poisoning of the air, the poisoning of the water. There's profound things making you not remember the fullness of who you are, which doesn't give you a choice, as you would say, to go in the light, as I would say, to choose where you go. Yeah. If you remember who you are, you remember that you're the all, and that you came here as a fragment of the all, and that you're no better or worse than anybody ever, as you said also.
We're all the same.
Then you get to choose. So I teach people to decide now, before they die, do I want to hang around here? Do I want to come back here? Do I want to go somewhere else? Whether you call it heaven, whether you call it a ship, a planet, a reality, a realm. And here's another thing people don't hear. We're always talking about in the future. So when you die, do you want to go somewhere in the future? Wait a minute. You can actually come back here. You can go back to the 1800s if you want. All time is now. You don't have to come back here and drop into 2080 or whatever. You can drop into whatever time you want. All time is now. Everything exists now. All dimensions exist now. And so you have a lot more options than you think. If you have a lot more options and you have that present team.
Or you're one of those people who let the whole world influence you and tell you you're not good enough to do this. You can't do that. You're a horrible person. You're a piece of crap, and you can't do anything for yourself. And that's when you pass away, that choice comes up, because
then your
again,
choices are
you
limited,
have that
and
free
you may
will.
even end up in a hell realm. And
Yeah,
I don't mean the fourth dimension, which is to me a kind of a hell realm. I mean, there are actual hell realms that have been created by agreement of people that you are describing.
and if you go, well, I don't know if I want to go in there. Nah, then boom, then you're off the next place that you are going. Oh, okay, well, I guess I'll just go over there because I guess I am a piece of shit because everyone had told me I'm a piece of shit. Oh, and I killed a bunch of people and stuff like that. Well, but I always tell people when you pass away and you see that light, man, do yourself a favor. Just walk in. Just do it. Don't take a second guess. Stop second guessing yourself here now, and you won't have to second guess yourself when it's time to leave.
Right. Right. You don't have to subscribe to any religion.
No.
This is
They're all made up.
of the soul, no matter what religion you are, no matter what you've done or haven't done, it comes down to you. You don't have to repeat necessarily the same life. Now, I do think we get stuck in loops, as you kind of inferred, because we haven't learned.
Yeah, the lessons we learned were not hard enough, so we didn't do very well with them. If you follow that path that you're not helping anybody because you say, oh, my life is all about me, and I don't care, and I'm taking 1,000 selfies on Facebook these days, and blah, blah, blah. That's a self-esteem problem. Go get that fixed. But anyway, if you're doing that, if you're not caring for other people and helping other people, then yeah, you're gonna. That's a definite. You're coming back again because the last life you had, those lessons were hard, but they weren't hard enough because, again, you had to come back this time. Now you may have to come back again because you, again, continued that same path that I don't care about anybody else. But because we do fulfill our purpose throughout our lives, it's just on the spiritual side of it, they want us to do it a whole lot. They want us to learn we should really come together but we don't do it always enough. So sometimes you just have to come back another time. And then maybe that next time you come back, instead of living to 80 years old, you finish it up in, 40 or 50 years and they go, time for you to check out. And then all of a sudden, boom, check out. And somebody goes, oh my God, they passed away too soon or they passed away tragically.
But it's actually positive, you're saying.
Yeah,
it's a positive.
Yeah, it's a positive. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing we all have in common. We don't die tragically. We don't die too soon. We don't die unexpectedly. You know what we all do? Die. And why do you die? Because of the two rules on this world that as long as we follow them, we comprehend them and follow them, and we understand them, you'll appreciate your life and everyone else's life around you. And rule number one is people die every day. And rule number two is you can't change rule number one. I don't care what vaccine you take, you're still going to die. And everybody does. You're going to be here for as long as you're meant to be here. No more, no less. Some people are here for 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, 5 months, 50 years, 100 years, or you're just not. But as you just said, and I think we're both going to agree on this, there's no time and space here really either. We have that construct here because why? Because we follow what the sun does. Oh, and we have jobs, so but other than that, you wake up, you're born, you wake up, you're in a body. You don't slow down. Your body goes to sleep because it needs to rest, but the soul is still going. Yeah. You wake up, you're born, and then you know what happens after that? You keep on going until the body dies. And then, but you don't really die because your soul just moves on to the next place. It has to go. That's what you just constantly go. You just, because as in spirit, they're not waiting for 3 o'clock. Where they are, you just are. You just be. And that's, you're not looking at the sun going, hey man, I got a party to go to. And why did that spirit tell me, hey, got no time going to a party? Because he got no time to hang around with me. He wanted to go to a party instead. So
you just said the secret to happiness in this reality or any reality.
Right.
Present right. Attention, present.
Whenever I meditate, I used to, in the very beginning, I would say, where am I going next? And they said in my mind, don't worry about where you're going.
That's right. Or where you're headed.
Yeah, just be. And I was like, oh, okay. So whatever comes to me is just going to come to me no matter what. Yeah. I mean, you could ask for things in meditation, like, what do you want me to do next?
Sure, absolutely.
But yeah, they want me to just be so I can absorb everything that's going to come to me instead of just focusing on one place. They may take me to 10 places, but I'm not going to know until I actually go.
I agree.
So tell me, my life. I do a lot of interviews on other shows, and a lot of those shows are paranormal shows because, as I tell everybody, because I see so many spirit, I see as many spirit I see in a day. It's like being in a room with 1,000 people, except nobody leaves and more keep coming in. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, they just keep coming in. That's how many I see in a day. I always tell people when I do these other shows, I see more spirit in a day than they'll ever see in any season of their shows.
That's the truth.
Yeah, because my life is, I am a walking paranormal event. And I'm guessing that you are as well. I'm not guessing. I'm being told you are. So tell me about what.
Stop telling my secret, guys.
Sorry. So I'm always connected. They're always touching me and talking to me and stuff like that. And like, I have it to the point now, like when I'm riding down the street on my motorcycle, I'll say to them, should I take this right turn here? And I get, no. I go,
Oh, wow.
you want me to go to the next one and take that one there? Okay. And that's what I do. Do I care what went on in that other place if I had gone down there or not? No, because I know that they're looking out. Yeah, they're looking out for my best interest. So I don't care about that stuff. That's why I don't care about past life regression and all that bullshit, because it's bullshit. So yeah.
Wait. Thank you for saying that. I just had to say that. So yeah, so I started down that line, and because I can see spirits. Do you know what happens when my daughter and I, who both can see, she can even see better than I can, in some ways. When we did our first past life regression, the beings that came in pretending to be other beings and doing all sorts of crazy tricks and trying to pretend to be grandma, it was nuts. It was like a big bad drama, and we had to send things out and out and out before we even got to a legitimate being. It was useless. We spent most of our time sorting through the beings coming through the portal that we opened during the regression. Then
I see a lady behind you right now. She's behind your left shoulder.
Oh, you do?
She has red hair. It's kind of parted to the side. I see she has glasses.
Interesting.
She has green eyes. Yeah. Yeah, write that down.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
And her name is Eleanor.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I don't always get names, but I just started getting names about a year ago.
That's awesome. We'll have a little.
I could see them like I was at this bar. I used to go to this car show, and I was at this bar, and it was an outside bar, like a tiki bar thing, and I would sit there and just drink Pepsis, and I would talk to the bartender. She knew about me and all that stuff, and she wanted me to stay late because at nighttime in dark rooms I see more.
Oh yeah, that's right. You said you see better
things. They'll show me a quick flash of what they normally look like, and then I just see them. So she said, "You see anything?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "There's this guy here with just a little bit of a beard, and a little bit of white hair on top, but he's got glasses, and he puts his glasses on like this, and he's showing me that he's got glasses." And I was like, okay. And I was like telling her, and she's like, "Do you get a name?" And at that point, I really didn't get a lot of names. Once in a while, and I said, "Yeah, his name is James." And she's like, "Is he here for anybody?" I said, "Yeah, these two people down the end of the bar."
Wow.
And she's like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "You think I should go down and tell them?" And I said, "If you don't want to, I will, but go right ahead." So she goes down. A minute into the conversation, the lady goes, "Oh, you mean Jim?" And I yelled down, "Yeah, Jim, but his name is James." And I walked down. I said, "Hi, my name is Daniel Jackson. I see dead people." Breaks it up. And I said, "Yeah." I said, "There's a guy here named James." But he goes, but Jim, but yeah, James. So I'm sitting there talking. I said, "Yeah, your buddy." I said, "He's here to be a spirit guy." And he goes, and he points his phone at me and says, he said, is he in the picture? And I said, "Yeah, that's him on the right-hand side." He goes, "Yeah, that's my friend Jim. He died a couple of years ago." I said, "How do you know him?" He said, "Well, we were into racing, and he showed me everything that I knew about racing." I said, "Awesome." I said, "Yeah, he tells me you're his son." He said, "That's strange." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because every time we would go someplace and talk to people, he would always tell everyone that I'm his son." He said, "But I'm not his son." And I said, "Yeah, well, he believes that you're his son, and he's got such a connection with you." So when I was doing that, his wife's like bawling her eyes out. And then when I turn around, I look around, and there's like a crowd of people, and they're all standing there like this. And I look at my friend, my friend the bartender. I said, like I tell everybody, and I told you before, I can't make this shit up. How would I know this?
Because it's verified.
Yeah, how do I know his name is Gene and then all that stuff? She's like, "Oh my God, that's amazing." I said, "Yeah, because this is real. People need to know." You don't have
I agree with you.
You don't have to walk around and act like, like a lot of mediums I see, they do shows where they have like 50 or 100 people there, and a lot,
Gallery reading.
yeah, people come up and they get like 8 or 10 people will get read in like a couple hours, something like that, because you never know how long that's going to last, how much information goes through. But a lot
Right.
of people show up to these events because they believe it's like a magic show, and they're there for the fan part of it. They're for the mystery of it, or to be mystified by all this stuff. But the problem with that is it's not real. It's not magic. This happens for real. It's just we've all been sanitized by everything else in the world, so that so certain parts of the world can have power and control over us. They keep us suppressed from all this truth that we need to know, and keep us feeding us lies so we don't know about it.
It's
Correct?
actually a good plan. You just pointed something out that I hadn't really thought of about why they do it, which is, I mean, I have connection to all dimensions, all densities, all time, all space, and all people. What can I not know? Nothing. I can know everything by connecting to the right source.
And
They
just
don't
ask.
want people like that
Right.
around as we can see through their BS, you know?
Right. Yeah. Well, like when I do a reading for someone, and like I said, I get yes and no answers. People will ask me a question, but the first question I ask them is this person telling me the truth? And if
Oh, wow.
if it goes like this, then I go, okay, hold on, we have to stop the reading. And they say, why? And I say, because you have to ask me truthful questions. You're not asking
Oh,
me truthful,
wow.
because you're trying to manipulate the answer so you can get your own truth. I did that with a woman one time. These two
Yes,
people,
yes.
I read this one woman, her and her partner, and she did the same thing. And I said, wait a minute, we got to stop. You're not asking me truthful questions. You're asking me manipulated questions so you can get your own truth, so you can have power and control over your partner, because
Wow.
she doesn't get it that you only want to have control over her, and you don't want her to actually be happy. And she's like, how the hell did you know that? And I said to her, because you're talking to the fucking medium, that's how, and I know this shit. So, and I said, so stop that, ask me truthful questions. But here's what she did next. And I want to ask you, when you do readings for people,
Okay.
do you get this type of thing? So I asked her to ask me some truthful questions, and she did. And then I gave her the answers, okay? Because everybody wants me to get an answer for them from God, and I do, but they don't like it. So because so
My life.
so I give her the answers, and then she did this, Kimberly. She went, and I was like, are you humming? I said to her partner, I said, is she humming? And she said, yeah, she does that to me all the time. I said, yeah, because she's blocking you out. She doesn't like the truth, so she's blocking me out. And I stood up and said, here's your money. Have a great day. Do you ever get people who absolutely want you to help them, but they don't?
Oh yeah, they pay a couple $100 and get the best scan of my life, and they argue with me about everything. And I said, no,
Right.
no. There's no arguing here.
That's how this works.
There's no arguing. This is 100%. I'm not putting this on you. You are telling me this. It's a frequency. I'm not like pulling things out of thin air and I'm putting it on
Right.
you. This is
Right.
you. So if you are telling me things about you, your oversoul, your body, your memory field, it's accurate. So
Right.
don't tell. So either you're, 100% lies, or this is all truth. There's no in between with my ratings. It's either all
Right.
truth or all lies,
Yes.
and none of it's lies. So of course they don't like it, because I can get to their belief systems. Who wants to be told I'm insecure? Who wants to be told I'm afraid of my partner leaving me? Who wants to be told I lie to myself and other people? I mean, that's the kind of things I share with people, because
Right.
how else do we get better if we don't have someone else say, hey, I see you. I see that you're creating dysfunction and chaos in your life by doing this. I see it as the wounds of a friend. They don't see it that way. They
Yeah.
see it as completely blowing up their false ego creation of their, created self.
Yeah, I'm not the marriage counselor that's going to take sides, because there isn't. I'm just getting you the truth. It's just not everybody can handle the truth or wants to hear the truth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I will say this, the people that appreciate it, those are my people. Those are the people that then I will take, and I will encourage you and be your biggest cheerleader, and help you activate your
Right.
abilities, and suggest ways to bring, that area of your life to balance. I will work with you. I will invest in you. I will pour into you. But I am not the magic pill. You are the magic pill. You,
Right.
the person that comes to us, they have everything in their being to heal themselves.
Yeah, the whole magic. I love because people are always searching for, and you have hit it right on the head. The magic pill. They always, I had a lady I did a reading for that she was like, she believed, she told me, she says, oh, I thought spirit guides and angels, they're just going to help. They're going to fix my life. I said, they're not magical beings that are come down to fix your life. You screwed it up. It's up to you to fix it by making better choices, and they will help you to make those better choices. But you have to listen, and then you have to follow through. And they were like, and she was like, oh, I didn't know it works that way. The other 3 mediums, I said, wait a minute, what'd you just say?
I love that.
She said, yeah, the other 3 mediums, because she was asking me about, oh my, this is in 2020, okay, February 3rd, okay, or 2nd on the 2020, before COVID hit. And I knew COVID was coming because we got a channel message it was coming.
Right.
I was told like 2.5 years prior to that. So she asked me, she says, I want to go on some trips. Can I go on some trips this year? And I said, no, you're not going on any trips. And she said, why not? I want to take cruises. I said, you're not going on any cruises. And she said, really? I said, yeah, no, you're not going. I said, but the big reason why you're not going on them is because you have no money. Your credit's shit, and that you have no money. And I said, so you need to save your money. I said, you have to pay off all your bills before I can go. And that's when she said, and then when I started telling more stuff, that's when she said, but that's not the other 3 mediums told me. And I said, what did you just say? And she said, the other 3 mediums, I just saw them today. They all told me I'm going. I said, they all lied to you. I said, because all they wanted to do, they took your money. So I said, so this lady calls me up like 2 hours after the whole event's over, because it was at a festival. She says, I want my money back. And I said, why? She said, because you didn't tell me the truth. I said, no, I told you the truth. I didn't give you your truth. I said, I gave you the truth. I said, because I always tell people, you may not get the reading you want, you will get the one you need. And I said, that's what you got. And then later on in that discussion, she said to me, she said, well, you were right. My credit cards are maxed out and I'm living day by day. And so I said, then how do you expect to go anywhere? She says, I don't know. I was hoping because the angels would come down to fix everything for me. I said, that's not what they do. You have to fix that, you know? But at the end of it, she's like, oh, okay. And all this stuff. And she let it go at that point. But yeah, people get this, they get this magical or mystified feeling that they're going to go to one of these events or go to an intuitive reader and get this magic that's going to happen to them and it's going to help them. It is help, but you know, God helps those who help themselves. Well, not really. He helped you once. He put you here. You know, the rest is up to us to figure it out. And you can't, you know, why do people go to a football game and go, oh, well, this team prayed to win the game and this one prayed. How come the other one didn't win the game? Well, because there's only one winner in a game. And God did not answer their prayers? No. Does God answer anybody's real prayers? Not really. But he sends others to help us here. But if you don't listen, if you don't follow through, then you're not getting help. Oh, well, I want this person to be cured of cancer. Well, some people die. You know who else dies? Everybody else dies. We all die. Yeah, it's just everything you die of is just a facilitation in order for your body to die so that you can get out of here and your soul can go somewhere else. But that's,
Yay.
yay, but people don't get that. And I try to teach them to that. And I know you do the same thing. So, and as you just talked about it, you get your people who come to you who do want your help, and then you can continue to help them. But so what do you do with those who are full of shit?
This was Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson. Subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss an episode. For more information about Dr. Kimberly George, visit her website at www.secrettoeverything.com or on Facebook at Secret to Everything. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson.